It is time to get to work on today's video. Let's get to it. Wait, what? Where the hell is my footage? My capture drive's looking a little full. Maybe I should clean that out. Much better. Oh. One thing that my videos might have shown you over the last couple of months is that I'm one of those art snobs who's just totally into high-concept games. And this week I'm going to take a break from my usual set of games that I talk about on free-to-play, like MOBAs and MMORPGs and crap like that, to talk about one of my art-snobby, high-concept puzzle games. Because as much as I love games about giant death robots, space ninjas, and blown-up zombies, I also like little puzzle games with a little bit of kind of a subtle story to tell. This week we're talking about Missing Translation, a free indie game off the Steam store by Spanish developers Alpixel. On the surface, this game appears to be just a pixelated kind of exploration puzzle game in which you play as either a lady or gentleman who is strangely transported to a mysterious world without their knowledge in the middle of the night and finds themselves having to find their way back by acquiring 3 pieces of a thing to put into a thing. You find these 3 pieces by moving into 3 buildings and completing a increasingly challenging set of generally spatial puzzles, which then culminate in you acquiring the piece, adding it to the machine, and then eventually gathering all 3 and returning home to your idyllic existence of working, sleeping, and generally being a boring person. All of this is displayed in a basic monochromatic pixelated art style, one that manages to display the information clearly to you in a more utilitarian style than the dark broodiness of Limbo or the vibrant ridiculousness of a game like Braid. On the surface, the game is competent, fun, and a good way to kill a little under an hour. It's interesting in that, but it's nothing too special. But that's just on the surface. There's an interesting part of this game that I've kind of neglected to mention so far. There's a second layer to the puzzle solving in this game that I actually managed to completely miss on my first playthrough. And I wouldn't be surprised if you did too. You can actually speak to the various denizens of this mysterious world that you've made your way to. Of course, you're not speaking nearly the same language. You're actually speaking in a 9-point grid in order to draw symbols that represent sentences. There's a huge amount of puzzle solving that goes into this in trying to translate and create an actual dialogue with creatures that don't speak a language that you could possibly understand. Mechanically, this system is actually kind of interesting to play in. There's a lot of trial and error involved in trying to figure out what everything means and trying to decipher this language so that you can make progress through the secondary layer of storytelling and find out what the hell's going on here. It's pretty fun and interesting mechanically. It's a solid take and a good idea. Outside of the dialogue puzzles, the standard puzzles themselves are actually pretty basic and repetitious. It's in fact the same 3 styles of puzzles repeated 25 times each, which some people might find tedious. I found it okay because they're actually fairly quick to complete and generally pretty intuitive, but some people may not like it. One other thing I want to comment on with this game is that I love the music. It feels like they tore this music directly out of a PlayStation 1 RPG, and it works so well for the game's atmosphere. It just sounds great, even though it does get repetitious because it's like the same 5 or 6 tracks played over and over again over about an hour. It is still pretty good music. I like it. It's very melodic. It does a good job of conveying the atmosphere. But that is Missing Translation. It's a fun little indie game. It's very basic and won't take more than maybe an hour of your time if you spend a lot of time working at it. There's an interesting puzzle mechanic here, but it's certainly not for everyone. It's a pretty standard game, but it's free, so give it a try if you enjoy puzzles. And for those of you who don't like puzzles, well, don't worry, we'll be back to robots that you build to kill other robots next week when I don't accidentally delete all my footage. Thank you very much for checking out this little video on Missing Translation. It's a fun little indie game that I found, and I really actually genuinely enjoyed it for about an hour. If you enjoy indie games, though, there's a channel I want to point you to. This is my buddy Highsight. He does videos on indie games. I'm in one, in fact. This recent one on a Star Fox-inspired Sky Arena. You can see an annotation right there. You should go click on it and check out his stuff, because it's pretty cool, pretty funny like me. But otherwise, thank you very much. If you enjoyed this video, as usual, do the thing. And you all have a great one.